All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Land of Chem. I am your host and the author. My name is Jeffrey Drum. Thank you all so much for joining me again. All right, everyone, welcome back. This is Sunday Site Visit 30, and today I will take you on a private tour of the Solar Temple at Abu Ghorab during our special permission access to this exclusive site on day 3 of the Land of Chem Ancient Alchemy and Ascension tour. As a follow-up to this video, I have a massive research episode in the works covering the archaeological data surrounding this perplexing site. If this is the type of content you're interested in regarding the function of the Egyptian pyramids, please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube. Remember to click that little notification bell so that you do not miss the new episodes that premiere twice per week. Like, comment, and stay tuned if you want to help support the channel. Check out the new Land of Chem members only section for exclusive research related content and unreleased footage that you will not see anywhere else. If you want to pick up a copy of the book or grab some merch, check out thelandofchem.com. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, check out our new channel here on YouTube, Egypt Eats, for food reviews from all of the fantastic restaurants here in Egypt. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that is it for today's intro. So without further ado, let's get right to it. All right, everyone, here we go with tonight's episode. And here is a gorgeous recreation of the Solar Temple at Abu Ghorab, which was not a pyramid at all, but rather a square-based structure with an immense obelisk rising out from the center. This is one of my favorite sites in Egypt, as it contains some extremely unusual in-situ artifacts that you will see in just a moment. I presented some of the initial research on this structure way back in episode 57, which I will link in the video description below, including the original housings for 4 of the 3-holed limestone bowls located on this corner of the site, the long channels carved into the paving stones in this area that appear to be leading toward the calcite crystal bowls located here. Today, you will have the opportunity to see and experience this spectacular site up close in person, and everything that you see labeled in this diagram will be broken down and explained in an upcoming research episode. So now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I hope you enjoy Sunday Site Visit 30 from our private special permission access to the Solar Temple at Abu Ghorab.
Good. I don't want to be 60. I want to be like 70 kilos.
What? You're high?
Yeah.
You must be high.
This is the Solar Temple
According to Buddha.
of Esoteric
Oh, look at this.
here at Abu Ghorab.
Oh, wow.
So this base that you see here was actually not a pyramid. It was a polygonal base with a large obelisk raising out of the center of the structure. You'll see here in the middle, the Hotep, white calcite crystal. Here are bowls Also white calcite crystal, otherwise known as alabaster. And as we do a quick walk around the site, you'll also see some other bowls here on the right side, which are limestone, which we'll go see in just a minute, just to point out a couple of differences between these artifacts. These ones have one hole drilled into the side of the bowl. And if you look here in this crag, in the corner here, there is green copper oxide still inside of the inner basin of the bowl, which implies that these bowls were originally sheathed in copper. So if you look here, this green material is green copper oxide. So we have crystal bowls, single hole, coated in copper. And as you can see, these bowls have all been moved from their original housing. So we don't know exactly where they were at this site. So they've all been moved and placed over here. So if you all follow me, we'll take a quick walk around the structure and I'll show you a few other details. This is very, very cool and a very unique opportunity. I've only had one other chance to come up here. Okay, so if y'all follow me. Several very anomalous details about this site that are of particular interest. So you'll notice here, these are the original limestone paving blocks that were basically the floor of this structure. And you can see these grooves or channels that were in the limestone paving of this temple floor. You can also see here that there are some holes and basins connected into these channel systems. And you can see here that these two blocks would have originally met precisely. There's a hole and these channels here.
A similar large limestone floor block like in Saxal Peru.
So as we continue around the temple here, and you'll see this more specifically at Abu Ghorab. These were most often plated with copper. You'll see that many of them at Abu Ghorab still have the remains of green copper oxide that were embellishing the hieroglyphs that were carved into these stones. This here being red quartzite. This is not red granite. These pieces here, large chunks, are all red quartzite.
So is this kind of like marbling effect common with the quartzite? Because it's often seen as being granite, red granite that's been, you know, down to something in some way.
So it's a completely natural and different type of mineral. And you can tell the difference by the large particles of quartz and large stones that are in that, whereas granite has much finer particles of mineral in there. So here's the first good example that we've seen so far of later quarrying on the site. So these are quarry marks where they were pulling pieces of granite off the side of the structure and they were quarrying them to split them and make them smaller and then take them off of the site. Over here you can see the red granite casing stones, and And you can see the difference of the fine minerals here within the red granite, which are a very homogeneous mixture. Whereas the red quartzite, it almost looks like it has small river stones that are embedded in the stone, which is a good way to tell the difference between the two. But the base of this structure was cased in red granite. Then we had courses of limestone and the large obelisk rising out of the center. And so here are a series of limestone bowls. And as we walk around the southeastern corner, we're going to see the original housing for these bowls. And it appears that there were 4 bowls on each corner of the structure. So northeastern, northwestern, southeastern, and southwestern corner, 4 limestone bowls, total of 16. And the ones that have the remaining edge, you'll see that there's 3 holes carved into them, which curve. These ones curve in, this one curves in, and the one in the center leads straight down into the bowl. So some of them still have the preserved edge here, and you can really see the curved shape of these holes leading in here.
Wow.
The chisel marks here look to me like something may have been removed, possibly a copper tube. And we have seen evidence of copper piping at the pyramid of Sahure in Abu Sir. And they removed all of that copper piping during the original archaeological investigations. This is documented that there were copper pipes at the pyramid of Sahure running through the channels that we'll see later on today. So it's certainly possible that these originally also had copper sheeting, like we saw with the calcite bowl at the front of the site. Yeah, so a little unexpected addition to the itinerary this morning. Trust me, I jump at any opportunity I get to come out to these type of sites because it's very infrequent that people get the opportunity to do so. All right, so now we're going to walk around to the north. It's actually south face of the structure. This is the north side. This is the south side. And we can take a look at the calcite crystal hotep, which I also showed in a recent video on my channel where there was microscope analysis of these crystals showing close-up scanning electron microscope images of the crystals. And the Ascension project also did some seismic testing when they were out here for a special permission that indicates that there may be some water movement underneath this calcite crystal hotep. And as we walk around here, you'll see more of these channels in the original paving here. Red granite casing stones still in place at the base of the structure. And then here is what's known as the hotep. We've heard this terminology before. And you can see fragments here, red granite, quartzite. You'll see here in this stone a massive tubular drill hole, and the striations of the tube drill that were used to core out this section. And chemical analysis has been taken of samples of material found inside of these core drills and also in saw marks in the black basalt on the Giza Plateau, where they discovered copper oxide. But it wasn't just pure copper, it's arsenical copper. 90% copper, 10% arsenic.
Makes it harder.
Makes it much, much harder. It also makes it easier to cast the blade. So it does appear, you know, there's this conventional rhetoric that they were using copper chisels and copper tools. That's not correct. It was an amalgam. Well, technically an amalgam is with steel or mercury, but it's a combination of metals that completely changed the original property of the original metal, an alloy. So they certainly had knowledge of metallurgy to be able to create much harder blades. And they also discovered particulate material that was part of an abrasive slurry that was applied during the cutting process. And that had micro fragments of corundum, which is a very, very hard mineral containing titanium dioxide, which is essentially what ruby is made out of. Ruby is corundum. And it's a very, very hard material that was used all across the ancient world as an abrasive particulate slurry. So the abrasive slurry is poured into the saw cut. The saw cut moves the abrasive slurry, and that's really what does the cutting.
I think this is an example of
And you can see here that there was
us being
a housing
carried
of
out
some sort,
beside
maybe
each other in
a
the
locking
place.
component or a door hinge, or there are a number of different interpretations for what could have been housed in these tubular drill holes. And you'll also see, if you look around the edges of the hotep, there's one side in particular that has, here, over in this corner, you can see that a tubular drill was used in the carving process of shaping this stone. So you can see the tube drill here. And this is also how the sarcophagus, or the containers inside of these structures, were also created. So you take the rectangular piece of stone, you take your tubular drill, drill down into the container to create tubular cores. Those cores are then popped out, leaving a rough container that's been hollowed out on the inside, which can then be finished with additional tool work. There's also, if you look on this side, a pretty badass looking saw cut. There's actually two. You can see one right here and then one right there in the circular core of this hotep. So one of the questions is overcuts, right? So if this was a manually operated saw blade, an overcut of that nature would be highly unlikely, because you would just stop the cutting process. The two guys would just say, okay, whoa, time to stop. And they would stop the cutting process. So when you see large overcuts of this nature, it's indicative of some sort of machine that was used in the cutting process. They still don't know exactly what type of tools were used for these things, but they certainly had things that were known as pendulum saws in the ancient world. These saws that moved back and forth. I think they were somewhat rudimentary machines, possibly powered by water wheels that had high gear ratios. So you have one turn of your water wheel connected to a system of gears that increases the rotation of the saw blade. It's the magic of gear ratios. So if you have something with a high gear ratio, one turn on one end can create 100 turns on the other end. A very, very simple, primitive machine that could have been used to power even the core drills as well, because evidence has been shown that they had a very high rotational rate of speed that isn't necessarily consistent. Again, they imply that the dynastic Egyptians only had hand tools, and I really think there's something more to the cutting process than just hand tools. They would have had knowledge of simple machines, simple mechanics, to be able to make cuts like this. Again, those deep overcuts are kind of an indication that there was some sort of machine used.
This is the same shape we saw at, what, the Red Pyramid?
Correct, yeah. So you'll see this similar shape reflected when we went in the mastaba of Ptah Hotep. The Hotep, the offering, the altar area, all still looks with this similar configuration. We saw the same configuration at the Bent Pyramid in Dashur. Remaining on this side.
What is that noise, Alexa? The camera, man? What is that noise?
There was one
Oh,
here.
it's just powering it.
Oh, okay.
There was one here. And there was also one over here. All right, everyone, that is it for today's video. This was Sunday Site Visit 30, the Solar Temple at Abu Ghorab. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and in the next episode in the series, I will be releasing part 1 of an absolutely colossal series discussing the power source of the Egyptian pyramids. This is an episode that you do not want to miss, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube. Click that little notification bell, like, comment, and stay tuned. If you want to help support this channel, check out the new Land of Chem members only section or thelandofchem.com if you want to pick up a copy of the book or grab some merch. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, don't forget, Egypt Eats for food review content from the fantastic restaurants here in Egypt. Link in the video description below. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that is it for today's episode, so I will see you next time. Yo, are you still watching this? Please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube and click that little notification button. New videos coming out every single week. And check out this other episode. Come on, do it. Do it now.